The lights were bright in the TV studio. The audience clapped as Robert Downey walked onto the stage. The talk show host, Vanessa Torres, welcomed him with a warm smile. Robert walked in wearing all black, waving shyly to the audience before sitting down. Vanessa started with the usual questions about his new film and behind-the-scenes stories. Robert answered with his typical thoughtfulness. Everything was going as expected until Vanessa mentioned Pepper Potts. When Pepper's name came up, Robert didn't smile. He took a deep breath like someone remembering something important that was never said out loud. The studio became quiet as Robert's mood shifted. Vanessa gently asked if he was okay. He hesitated before saying he wanted to share a story he'd never told in public. The audience grew completely silent as they sensed something meaningful was about to be revealed. Robert began explaining that everyone always talked about the chemistry he and Pepper had in their film, but there was something deeper that was never spoken about, not even between them. He admitted that hearing her name changed the tone of his day. For a long time, he thought it was just a passing crush he kept to himself. But with time, he realized it might have been something more lasting and real. When Vanessa asked why he was sharing this now, Robert thoughtfully replied that he was finally ready, and perhaps someone out there needed to hear it. Sometimes the most important story is the one you've never told. Then he said it plainly. I had feelings for Pepper. Real ones, but I never said anything. The energy in the room shifted. It no longer felt like a talk show, but more like a confession. Robert explained that his feelings started during their first film together. They were both young and trying to stay professional, but during breaks and quiet moments, he began noticing little things about her. He was drawn to how she found joy in small things, how grounded yet free she seemed. Robert never told her how he felt because he didn't want to complicate their professional relationship. He noticed everything about her rhythms, her silences, her favorite tea, the way she tilted her head when thinking. The deeper he noticed, the deeper his feelings grew. When Vanessa asked if he fell in love with Pepper, Robert searched for words carefully. He said he fell for the version of her he knew then, and maybe the version he imagined too. It was something powerful, though he wasn't sure if it was love. Robert shared a memory of sitting with Pepper between takes, eating sandwiches as she talked about her dog. He couldn't stop watching how she moved her hands when she spoke. That's when he realized his feelings had crossed from admiration into something more personal. But he kept it all to himself, pretending it was just friendship. The conversation took an unexpected turn when Robert revealed he wasn't the only one with hidden feelings. Pepper had told someone, not him, that she had feelings too. By coincidence, that person was Vanessa herself. Years ago, backstage at an award show, Pepper had casually confessed to Vanessa that she had a big crush on Robert during their film, but never said anything because she didn't want to ruin their friendship. Robert explained that he found out years later when someone mentioned in passing that Pepper once said she had a crush on him. He eventually watched the interview where she admitted it. He started thinking about all the opportunities they had to say something: parties, dinners, long phone calls. But they both remained silent, afraid of ruining something they cherished. When Vanessa asked if he thought he missed his chance, Robert answered thoughtfully, yes and no. Some chances are meant to be missed so they can stay perfect. There were nights he wondered what might have happened if they'd been braver, but he believed timing is everything, and sometimes the right people meet at the wrong time. Years later, after a charity event, Robert and Pepper finally talked about their unspoken feelings. He told her the truth about his feelings during their film time together, and she admitted she'd felt the same way. They had both buried their feelings trying to be good professionals and friends. They smiled at each other like two people realizing they'd been reading the same book in silence for 20 years. But their story took a deeper turn when Robert revealed how Pepper had helped him through the darkest time of his life. After losing his partner Jennifer and their unborn daughter Ava, Robert was broken. He didn't tell anyone about his pain, didn't want publicity or pity. He withdrew from life, barely functioning even while working. Though Pepper didn't know the details, she sensed something was wrong. She sent him a handwritten letter that said, "Don't let the silence steal your softness. The world still needs your kindness." It was the first time he had cried in weeks. During this period, Robert had prayed for a sign if there was anything left in him worth saving. The next day, by chance, he ran into Pepper. She gave him a long hug and simply said, "Hey, I missed you." In that moment, he didn't feel fixed or healed, but he didn't feel alone anymore. Robert explained that he believes Pepper was sent not to stay or rescue him, but to remind him that softness still existed in the world. Divine intervention isn't always dramatic. Sometimes it's just someone smiling at you when you've forgotten how to smile back. He never fully told Pepper what she did for him, but he didn't have to. Robert closed by sharing what he hoped people would take from his story, that some connections don't end in romance but still begin with purpose. And just because something doesn't become everything doesn't mean it wasn't something meaningful. Sometimes the most powerful love is the one that passes through your life gently and leaves you better than it found you.